For decades, China stood as the world's factory, a nation of 1.4 billion people driving global growth. Its rapid urbanization, massive infrastructure projects, and export dominance transformed it into an economic powerhouse. But today, the tides are turning. China's population is shrinking and its economy faces an uncertain future. Meanwhile, another giant is rising in its shadow, India. With a young and growing population, India is poised to reshape the global balance of power. Could this be the start of a new chapter in the story of global dominance? What roles do Europe and Russia play? And how will this shift affect the United States? In this video, we explore the root causes of China's population crisis, its far-reaching consequences, and how India's demographic advantages might redefine the global order. China's population crisis didn't happen overnight. For years, the country's one-child policy, introduced in 1980, aimed to curb population growth. While it succeeded in slowing the population boom, it left behind a demographic time bomb. By the time the policy was relaxed in 2016, it was too late to reverse the damage. The numbers are stark. In 2023, China's population declined for the first time in 6 decades, dropping by 850,000 people. To put that into perspective, that's roughly equivalent to the entire population of Seattle, Washington, disappearing in a single year. Projections show that by 2100, the population could halve from 1.4 billion to around 700 million. To put that into context, this decline is equivalent to losing twice the current population of the United States. An aging population means fewer workers and more retirees. In 2022, over 20% of China's population was over 60 years old, a figure expected to rise to 35% by 2050. This shift places enormous strain on the economy, with labor shortages, reduced consumer demand, and increased healthcare costs. Despite government incentives like cash bonuses and tax breaks for families, the cultural and economic barriers remain. High living costs, career pressures, and a shift in social norms discourage young couples from having more children. Before we expand on India's demographic advantage, we really want to thank you for watching and supporting this channel. If you enjoyed the content so far, please just hit the like button and subscribe to help us with the algorithm. Your support helps us to grow and bring you more in-depth content. Thank you so much. Now back to the content. Now we've heard about China. In stark contrast, India's population surpassed China's in 2023, reaching over 1.4 billion people. This rapid growth can be attributed to several factors. Well, first, India has historically had high fertility rates, particularly in rural areas where large families are often seen as a source of economic security. While fertility rates have declined in recent years, they remain above replacement levels in many parts of the country. Second, improvements in healthcare and sanitation over the past few decades have drastically reduced infant mortality rates, allowing more children to survive into adulthood. Initiatives such as immunization programs and better maternal care have played a critical role in boosting life expectancy and population growth. Third, cultural and social norms in India have contributed to slower adoption of family planning measures compared to countries like China. For many, access to contraception and education on family planning has lagged behind, particularly in rural areas. This youthful population represents a demographic dividend, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to drive economic growth through a large productive workforce. India's economy is already reaping the benefits. It's one of the fastest growing major economies, expanding by over 6% annually. Tech giants like Apple and Google are investing billions in India, shifting supply chains away from China. The IT and service sectors thrive, employing millions and generating global influence. However, this growth is not guaranteed. To fully capitalize on its demographic advantage, India must address critical challenges, improving education, upgrading infrastructure, and reducing income inequality. Poor education quality in many rural areas means that large segments of the population lack the skills needed for high-paying jobs, creating a potential mismatch between workforce availability and economic needs. The country's infrastructure, from roads and railways to power and internet access, is underdeveloped in many regions, hindering industrial growth and connectivity. Income inequality remains a significant issue, with wealth concentrated in urban centers while rural areas lag behind, potentially exacerbating social tensions. Additionally, bureaucratic inefficiencies and red tape can discourage foreign investment and delay critical projects, slowing economic progress. Finally, public health challenges including malnutrition and limited access to healthcare could further strain the workforce and reduce productivity. The demographic shifts in China and India are not just numbers, they are redefining global power dynamics. For decades, China's massive population and economic might positioned it as America's primary competitor. But as China's workforce shrinks, its grip on global manufacturing is loosening. Europe and Russia also play critical roles in these global power shifts. Europe, with its focus on fostering democratic alliances and economic cooperation, has been strengthening ties with both India and the United States. European nations are investing in India's renewable energy projects and infrastructure, while aligning with the US on maintaining stability in the Indo-Pacific region. Meanwhile, Russia's position is more complex. Its long-standing partnership with China, particularly in energy and defense, positions it as a counterweight to Western alliances. However, India's deep historical ties with Russia, including defense collaboration, add another layer of complexity to the shifting dynamics. As these alliances evolve, Europe and Russia's strategies will significantly influence the balance of power. China's population decline has also influenced its political and territorial strategies, particularly regarding Hong Kong and Taiwan. With fewer young workers and an aging society, China's economic vulnerabilities have heightened its reliance on key regions like Hong Kong to sustain its financial influence. Hong Kong's integration into the Greater Bay Area is part of a broader strategy to maintain its position as a global financial hub, ensuring that its economic contributions bolster a slowing mainland economy. For Taiwan, China's demographic decline creates a sense of urgency. The prospect of a shrinking military-age population and reduced economic leverage may push Beijing to act more aggressively in asserting its claim over Taiwan. This escalates tensions with the US, which has a vested interest in Taiwan's independence both for strategic reasons and its critical semiconductor industry. China's demographic challenges, including its shrinking workforce and rising geopolitical tensions over Taiwan, have created a leadership vacuum in global manufacturing and strategic influence. India is stepping into this void. The country's vast youthful workforce and democratic governance make it an attractive partner for nations seeking alternatives to China's dominance. With a population poised to remain young and productive for decades, India offers a stable foundation for industries and alliances that depend on long-term growth and cooperation. Initiatives like the Quad Alliance, a strategic partnership between the US, India, Japan, and Australia, highlight India's growing role in counterbalancing China's influence in the Indo-Pacific region. Yet, India's rise is not without friction. Ongoing border tensions with China, such as the standoff in the Galwan Valley in 2020 and continued skirmishes in the Ladakh region, highlight the fragile relationship between these two powers. Both nations have ramped up military infrastructure along their disputed Himalayan border, increasing the risk of escalation. Additionally, competition for regional influence in South Asia and the Indian Ocean has intensified, with China's Belt and Road Initiative clashing with India's own outreach efforts such as infrastructure projects in Sri Lanka and partnerships with Asian nations. These geopolitical tensions, coupled with internal challenges, could complicate India's ascent. For the United States, these shifts bring both opportunities and challenges. On one hand, India's rise offers a chance to diversify supply chains, strengthen democratic alliances, and tap into a growing consumer market. On the other hand, America must navigate a complex landscape where China's decline does not guarantee India's success. These developments also present a dual challenge, supporting allies like Taiwan while navigating China's growing assertiveness. Taiwan is a crucial partner for the United States, not only for its strategic location near key shipping lanes in the Indo-Pacific, but also for its dominance in the global semiconductor industry, which powers everything from smartphones to advanced military systems. Ensuring Taiwan's security is critical for maintaining technological supremacy and economic stability. As demographic pressures reshape Beijing's strategies, the stakes for American foreign policy have never been higher. Will the US rise to the challenge, or will shifting power dynamics test its influence in the region? Currently, India is America's 9th largest trading partner, while China ranks 3rd. However, trade with India is growing rapidly, fueled by partnerships in technology, defense, and clean energy. For example, major US tech companies like Google and Microsoft have invested heavily in India's digital infrastructure, while defense collaborations include the sale of Apache and Chinook helicopters to India's military. In clean energy, the US and India have launched initiatives such as the US-India Strategic Clean Energy Partnership aimed at scaling renewable energy solutions and reducing carbon emissions. But competition looms. As India's economy expands, it could rival the US in key industries, creating new tensions in trade and geopolitics. In the technology sector, India's growing IT and software services industry, led by companies like Infosys, TCS, and Wipro, continues to compete for global market share, challenging American tech dominance. India's semiconductor ambitions, backed by government incentives and partnerships, could reduce reliance on US-based chip makers over time. Additionally, India's thriving pharmaceutical industry, known for producing affordable generic drugs, often competes directly with American pharmaceutical giants in global markets. In geopolitics, India's leadership in the Global South and initiatives like the International Solar Alliance give it significant influence among developing nations, which could counterbalance US efforts to maintain its leadership on the global stage. The global stage is shifting, with China's star dimming and India's rising. The choices these nations make today will shape the world of tomorrow. Will India fulfill its promise as the next economic superpower, and how will the US adapt to this new reality? Well, the answer lies in the balance between cooperation and competition. As the US, India, and China navigate this transformative period, the stakes couldn't be higher. Collaboration could usher in a new era of shared prosperity, but rivalry could deepen global divisions. China's population crisis is not just their story, it's a global story. As India rises, the choices we make today will define the world of tomorrow. How should America prepare for this new reality? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more insights into global trends shaping our future. Thanks for tuning in.